Hi,
Hi, everyone.
everyone. Welcome to our garden. Well, it's been a long time since we've done a garden tour, and a lot of you have been asking about it. So much has changed in the backyard since our last garden tour. So let's get to it.
I'll get the camera.
For those of you that are new to our garden, this is the hill garden, and I'm coming down here on the meandering path. Now, the meandering path was named by the TV show host on the show we were on that helped us redo our backyard called Extra Yardage, and the name has stuck ever since. Now, here on the hill garden, it gets partial sun during the day. At the top, it's shaded for a lot of the day, so I have my herb garden here, growing lots of different herbs and also a lot of wildflowers that just popped up this year. I never planted them, but I think the birds actually carried the seeds. So we're enjoying seeing the beautiful color from our window. Our office is actually right there at the window on our house. So we've got a lot of herbs growing here, some chives, basil, oregano, rosemary, and sage. And I love to keep the herbs right next to my kitchen so I could just pop out and harvest them. Now, we have changed things up quite a bit here on the hill garden this year. The main thing that I've changed, and I'm going to come right down here behind you here, Jerry, is we've kind of flip-flopped where we're growing things. Last year over here, we grew watermelon and it just didn't get enough sun. So what I did to kind of, make adjustments for that, it's always good to experiment in the garden, is I brought part of my pollinator garden over here. We've got zinnias, sunflowers, a lot of wildflowers along the fence, and then put my watermelon down in the chill zone, which we'll visit in just a moment. So really wanted to bring a lot of pollinators here into the hill because right over here on this side of the hill garden is where I have my tomatoes. Last year I grew tomatoes on the tomato string trellis, absolutely loved it. So kind of reinforced my trellises a little bit. If you're looking for a really good way to save some space in your garden, tomato string trellis is a great way to do it. You can put a lot of tomatoes in a much smaller space by how you prune them and grow them up vertically. This is a DIY trellis with a T-post, a post that I had here in my backyard, and strings hanging down. We've got videos that tell you exactly how to do that. Now, if you're not finished with your whole garden here in June, don't worry about it. I'm still working on mine too. Here I've got tomatoes planted, but no trellis installed yet. So my plan is to put a really pretty arch over this garden bed. We just have to put it together and install it, and then hang the strings down from that. So it'll be kind of another variation of the tomato string trellis. But we do look at this area from our deck a lot, so we kind of wanted a lot of visual interest. Now, I do have quite a bit of shade at the top of the hill. So I am just gonna climb up over here and show you what I just planted last week. I'm actually really excited about this. Make use of those shady spots. Here I've got some arugula growing, which typically doesn't grow well in June, but it really only gets a few hours of morning sun right here. Just planted it on Sunday, and here we are 4 days later, and the arugula is already popping up. So just make adjustments in your garden based on the light that you have. There's actually quite a lot of things you can grow in the shade. When you're planting your garden, make sure that you pay attention to the sunlight and then plant appropriate plants for those areas. Now, one thing I love to do on the hill is make good use of hanging baskets, because this is right outside of our kitchen. And I like to plant things we're going to harvest quickly, like strawberries in the hanging baskets. Plus, it gives a lot of beautiful visual interest. The flowers really bring in the pollinators. Got some herbs and smaller vegetables there on the deck rail that we can harvest while we're eating or grilling or barbecuing. I love to plant a lot of flowers too, so we can see them from our window. And along the fence here, there's sunflowers and zinnias that'll be blooming over the next month or so. It's just such a beautiful spot to be. So just to tell you a little bit about the design of the hill and why I put things where they did, I wanted to create an entrance. So Jerry, why don't you just show the archway at the top of the hill, and then also kind of an exit or an entrance if you're coming up the hill with a similar arch at the bottom. Now this is a passion fruit at the bottom, and this stays green year round. It's now starting to produce passion fruit. So that way we have an entrance and an exit to the hill garden. And I also wanted to create lots of different layers with the vertical structures. We've got the obelisks going on here for the zinnias. We've got the taller salvia there plant on the side. The tomatoes will fill in with the tomato string trellises, so we have lots of visual interest and lots of color on the hill. And maybe this will give you some ideas for your garden too. Oh, one thing I did want to mention is we just lined the pathways here with fresh cedar mulch, which we do every single year. It smells amazing, and it is a natural pest deterrent. It's very inexpensive, and it kind of breaks down over the season, so we do refresh it every year. I always say it's like the icing on the cake for the garden. It really does make it look beautiful. Now, if you're looking for some ideas on what to grow on an arch, I highly recommend a passion fruit. If you live in a southern climate where it's fairly warm year-round, it's a very hardy plant, and it's got these beautiful, gorgeous flowers. I absolutely love them. And then now it's starting to get loaded down with passion fruit, which grow out of the flowers. So we've got several different passion fruit on here. These actually turn purple when they're ripe, so it's just gorgeous in the summertime. And in fact, we are constantly having to trim it back. So you do need a very sturdy archway or a huge trellis for it. But it's always fun to kind of walk through it down into the main part of the garden. So come on. And there's lots of shade on this side of the passion fruit. I tried for years, you guys, to grow stuff down here that needed sun. You know, you think I would have figured it out sooner, but I finally did. And this year I'm actually growing only shade-tolerant greens. So if you've got those shady spots where you just can't grow anything, just work with the spot that you have. I've got some kale in here, and just on yesterday's video, I planted a whole bunch of endive seeds, just sprinkle them down. So we'll have lots of heat-tolerant greens this summer, right in the shady spot. Now I'm going to show you an area that we completely redid this spring. Brand new to our garden, introducing the garden nook. Here we are. This used to be an old sagging deck, so we took it out because it was completely unusable space. Put in some just pressed down decking, made it down and dirty, quick and simple, but it turned out so beautiful. Popped up a couple of Smart Pots raised beds, and then Jerry, I absolutely love this, built me a potting bench, and I am loving it. Get a lot of work done here. We also installed a hose in the corner here, so I have easy access to water. Our Mr. Landscaper drip irrigation system waters all these garden beds. These are so easy to pop up. We literally pop these garden beds up in about 15 minutes. Fill them with soil, planted some plants. Here's our first zucchini flower blooming here today. How perfect for our garden tour.
Oh, no way.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite zucchinis, a round zucchini. One of my absolutely favorite varieties of squash. So exciting. And we've got one right behind it with a little round zucchini coming on. So these garden beds are absolutely exploding with growth. Now, the thing about this area, if you haven't watched our partial shade video, these are in partial shade for most of the day. So planted plants that would thrive in partial shade, and this garden is absolutely doing amazing. We've already been harvesting off it for several months.
This is just a fun little corner. I really like the wooded feel of this. Bring work to your work surface here and can do pots and fill things and that kind of thing. And the nice little natural feel that it gives the garden.
I do too. And the cool thing is I've never had a potting bench. So it was so nice of Jerry to build this. And the cool story behind this is the potting bench is built out of the composite decking that used to be right here in this spot.
We repurposed it.
So Jerry's the master at repurposing, and it just kind of gives me a really good feeling knowing that it's getting put to good use.
And this is also the first time I ever built a bench. So that was kind of huge for me.
Yes, it was. And what I've tried to do here is kind of keep things that I use a lot. Like I keep some soil down there so I can really quickly, you know, up pot vegetables or start seeds or whatever. And this cool little garden caddy, which, okay, you guys, it's a mess right now. But I keep, but you know, life is real here. Yeah. I keep some tools, some gloves, my lip gloss, all right, just in case I need it while we're filming, landscape staples, and just general items that I need while I'm up potting. So definitely one of my favorite spots in the garden too. So over here, let me continue on telling you about the vegetables we have growing. Again, if you're growing in a spot with partial shade, because not all of us have full sun gardens, definitely go back and watch our partial shade video. We've got a smaller variety of tomatoes, the sun gold, growing up and over this trellis. In fact, the other day I actually had to get a ladder out to weave the sun golds through this archway. So we're gonna have a ton over here. Then we've got the divas. Make sure you go back and watch our cucumber video. This plant is just getting loaded down. I predict we're gonna be harvesting cucumbers probably within maybe 2 weeks. So Jerry, if you wanna get a shot of the divas, these are actually in my cucumber seed collection, 50% off right now with the code GROWFOOD50. What an amazing cucumber. I will have this every single year in my garden. It's what's called a parthenocarpic cucumber. doesn't need pollination in order to germinate. The plants or the leaves just look beautiful and healthy. And we are so excited about this new garden spot. And of course, we filmed the whole process. We even have a compilation video that shows everything from start to finish for this makeover. Okay, you guys, do you ever have one of those areas of your garden that you want to cover up? Well, I would like to cover up this garden bed right behind me, but we're keeping it real because life is real. I am so far behind on planting my mini elevated raised bed, but you know what? It's not a race. You just get out in the garden and do your thing. But it is so overgrown. It's got weeds, it's got onions that need to come out. I did manage to get some cucumbers in a few weeks ago, but they need to be trellised. We have all the old stretchy tie tape hanging down here from my wooden trellis here. So you know what? You do what you can. I've been staring at this out my window every single day. I'm gonna get out here in the garden this weekend and clean it up. So my plan is take everything out, top it off with the Master Nursery bumper crop soil because it's just such an amazing soil. Then I'm going to plant some edamame beans and maybe some bush beans in here, trellis up my cucumbers, plant some flowers. So the next garden tour, hold me to it, this thing is going to be thriving and beautiful. So we're going to move on from this real quickly. But if you're feeling behind, don't worry about it. Just get out in the garden and do your thing. Just make it a goal to do 1 or 2 small things each day so you don't get overwhelmed. So now we're going to move on to what we love to call the fountain planter. Now this really is the centerpiece and focal point of our garden. This was actually put in by the garden makeover show that helped us redo our garden. And it was going to be a whole fire pit, but we made it into a planter, of course. And this is primarily where I put my peppers because it gets full sun during the summertime, about 10 hours of sun a day. It just bakes down here. So we've got lots of peppers, eggplant. My lettuce at the front is starting to bolt, which that's what happens in hot weather to lettuce. So soon this will all be taken out so that the eggplant and peppers can really fill in this space. Now, I do love to plant spillers in a lot of my raised beds. Hey, Mac, how you doing there? Just beautiful plants that spill over the edges. So I've tried to do strawberries all around my raised beds this year. But I also love to plant some heat-tolerant flowers. So pretty soon the pansies will be reaching the end of their life with the hot weather coming in. And I'm going to put in some profusion zinnias, which are a really beautiful small zinnia that will spill over the edges of the garden beds. So do plant flowers that bloom at different times in your garden. That way you bring in the pollinators and you have blooms throughout the season.
Yeah, I wanted to point out too that the name of the episode of the show that we were on was called Alfresco Amphitheater. And the idea was that this fountain had that feel to it of an outdoor seating, outdoor amphitheater, and is the center point of the garden. And this is where the family would sit and listen to those playing music at our family gatherings.
And actually our backyard has actually been the event space for a couple of weddings, anniversary parties, that type of thing. And people do actually sit up here on the levels. When our kids were little, we actually had movie parties where we put up a big screen here and the kids all sat there with blankets and pillows. So it's definitely got a lot of use over the years. So we have named various areas of our garden, just mainly to keep track of them. So far, we've come down the hill on the hill garden there, then over to the garden nook, which is a brand new name for this year, and then the fountain planter. And then we move into one of my favorite areas, the chill zone.
Now this is called the chill zone, so you know the background of it, is that we have a little chimney back here, and we also have 2 chairs that we would bring out here and just chill. And that's how it got its name.
And then we found out that we chilled more at the top of the hill than at the bottom of the hill. So of course, what do I do when I have extra space? I take it over for planting. We did put this raised bed in several years ago when we first created the chill zone. This is one of the designs in my book on raised bed gardening. It's a quite sturdy, large 4x8 raised bed, and I really love because I can grow so much in it. But I changed up the design of what I'm growing in it this year quite a bit. Last year, I had the trellis that's in those 2 black smart pots, Jerry. I had that one actually in the middle of this raised bed.
That's right.
But what I found out is I made a big mistake because it actually shaded out all the vegetables in the back. So I'm like, we're going to redo the whole thing. And we put the arch in over here, growing watermelon up the archway, and lower plants in the front so they don't shade out the watermelon growing in the back. And I absolutely love the new design of it. I actually had this archway. I forgot to return it on Amazon. It was sitting on the side of the house. So Jerry put it together, popped it in for me, and things are just growing in beautifully. Now, what I found too is that this year, because I'm using such a high quality soil, the bumper crop soil, things are just exploding with growth. So super excited. I actually planted a whole bunch of greens underneath here so they can get shaded out by my little mini twine trellis, which I made myself out of sticks.
I think it's adorable.
I love it. It reminds me of Storybook Land at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Got some cute little cucumbers climbing up the top here, some mini cucumbers, and the greens are coming in beautifully. I really didn't know if these lettuce greens would grow in the summertime, but we've had a very, very cool spring. So they're growing in just beautifully. In the front here, I've got some peppers. This plant, you guys, pepper plant, it's on its 3rd year, a jalapeno pepper. So if you want a pepper that will overwinter, especially in a southern climate, plant yourself a jalapeno. And then the Tiny Tim tomatoes, I've edged it all with the strawberries to be nice little spillers. We have been picking little handfuls of strawberries every day to have on our yogurt. It's just so much fun to pick from our own backyard. Got some lower basil plants in the front here. And I think this is probably one of my favorite raised beds of the garden. Now, come on over here because here's where I'm going to need to make some adjustments. If you watched our watermelon video, we planted up watermelon here on the arch, also in containers. It does grow well in containers, but it's just not getting enough sun here. So the sun hits this garden about 10, 11 in the morning, but this is kind of tucked back in the corner. So Jerry, I'm going to have you help me after our video move these containers up. They're on rollers, which makes it super easy to move so they can get hit with a few more hours of sunlight each day, and it's really going to make a big difference.
Sounds good.
Now, what I found is that for containers, really a compact watermelon works better. This is the Sugar Baby from my melon seed collection, and we love those. They're small, compact, about 5 pounds, and we can eat them all in one sitting. Now, one of my favorite plants over here is the jasmine. This plant smells absolutely amazing. It's a star jasmine. It's just now in full bloom. Take a whiff, Jerry.
Yeah, it does smell good.
It's like perfume.
Yeah, always.
And it's really fun to hang out down here and smell the jasmine. One big change I made too is the orange tree. Used to be tucked way back in the corner. We finally brought it out, so it's getting more sun. I really need to prop it up so it's not leaning over so far, but I am really pleased. Added some new soil to it and some of the Monterey Dr. Iron, and I have got a ton of oranges on it. So this is going to be our best orange year yet. I'm so excited.
This has become actually my favorite area lately. It's called the Red Planter area, and I'll show you why in a minute, but it's just so peaceful and just it reminds me of a wooded forest type trail. There's the Red Planters that we're talking about. And again, part of the TV show, they brought corrugated pipe from a farmer here in the area, cut it up, and 6 planters. So unique.
This is what I dedicated over the past several years to my pollinator garden, and we've kind of switched it up a little bit. Still lots of pollinators in here. I've got wildflowers planted, some herbs, the sage that is blooming that brings in a lot of pollinators as well. But it does get a really good amount of sun, which is great. But I used to not be able to grow vegetables here until we took down some trees that were right back here when we redid our deck. So lots of sun. I figured let's move pollinators over there where it's not getting quite as much sun and put some squash in here. Because of shaded areas of our garden, I've had trouble growing squash over the past few years. So we popped in squash to the red pipes, and they're really starting to take off. Now I am going to install trellises to grow this squash vertically because I really do not have room for them all to sprawl everywhere. I've got some butternut and acorn squash over here, scallop squash in the middle, and then other types of squash in the third planter in the front. Now, I love a lot of wood and kind of organic looks in the garden.
Me too.
We've had these wooden trellises for several years, got them from a local garden center. So check your local garden centers for amazing finds. So we're going to be installing 2 more, which I have right back here. Jerry's going to help me with that this weekend. Mm-hmm. And then I always love to make little fences out of whatever I have. So we've got some sticks in the front from our trees, which we're always trimming. and a little kind of twine rope to kind of enclose this area. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be planting in the front. Probably some pollinators or maybe some beans.
You know, I want to commend you too, Kim. You're really good at using what the garden already has within it and repurposing it. This is just the cutest here. I just think it's so organic and natural looking. And these
the towers
as well. I just love those. That all look just really nice.
Thank you. And one thing Jerry's really good at is fixing things for me. So the towers need a little bit of reinforcement on the legs, which he did a couple weeks back, and we'll stick these in this weekend. Oh, and I forgot to talk about the dahlias, okay? My dahlias are just starting to grow, not blooming yet, but dahlias are tubers, which I can leave in the ground here in California. One of my all-time, hands down, favorite flowers in the whole wide world. These are dinner plate dahlias, so the flowers will literally get about the size of a dinner plate. And if we do another tour in July, maybe the end of June, they might be blooming. I absolutely love them. They're so pretty. Now, I want to talk a little bit too about what's growing right behind the red planter area. So you guys might remember we refurbished our deck maybe a year ago is when we had it completed. Jerry did it all himself, but I really wanted to fill this area in with my fig tree. Now, typically fig trees are 10 to 20 feet tall. So I really wanted to grow one because one of our viewers sent us a cutting, and I decided to espalier it, which is a method that you can grow it flat against a fence. It's the branches are tied to these cables, got T-posts on either end, and every couple of weeks during the growing season, I come out and just attach the branches to the cables with a soft little tie here to kind of guide them and shape the plant up against this fence. You know what, you guys? I've got a couple of figs. I'm not sure if they got pollinated yet. They might be shriveling up. They are starting to shrivel, unfortunately. Oops, yeah. These didn't get pollinated, so we're hoping that we do get some pollinators to come in and we've got a nice crop of figs this year. It'll be our very first one. We really have tried to make use of a lot of the space here that we have under the deck. You might remember a couple of years ago, we transplanted these blackberries twice. Once to rebuild the deck, and once when we had the deck done to put them back. And last year, I really didn't get a good crop, so it was kind of disappointing. But they were under a lot of stress, and this year, they are really blossoming out. And I've got lots of blackberries coming on. So really excited to hopefully have a better crop. So it doesn't get full sun here, which I think is actually really helping them out because we get such hot weather here in California and blackberries don't like tons of hot weather. So lots of blooms, lots of blackberries. I'm anticipating lots of good blackberries over ice cream on yogurt, all that kind of thing. We don't have tons to make blackberry jam or anything like that, but we just love coming out here and picking them. They are so amazing. So if you're looking for a super easy berry to grow, plant some blackberry trees. Now my sister in Oregon tries to get rid of them because she has so many. They grow like crazy there. But here we absolutely love them. So coming up the hill here, just to give you a perspective, red planters is right here, and then we walk up these steps here to the smart pot stack, as we affectionately call it. But before we get up there, I have made use of this space on the fence. It's a perfect spot to grow greens. I've got arugula planted right here. Again, in the shade, so it doesn't get too hot here when the weather's getting warm in June. And then just succession planted, pulled out some old arugula that was bolting and planted some lettuce. We are so thankful for a Mr. Landscaper micro sprayers, which are keeping everything well watered, including the new pot dripper system for our hanging baskets and our containers here on the Smart Pot Stack. So this area we've pretty much completely revamped as well. Added all the plants along the rail there, the hanging baskets, the potted plants with some peppers, got strawberries in the hanging baskets. And this is an area where I love to just pop out real quickly. I harvest from here every single day. Things like chives for scrambled eggs, strawberries for our breakfast. Got the alyssum spilling over the side. Jerry, you've got to come in here and get a shot of these humongous strawberries. Look at these.
Oh, I never saw those.
I just saw them. They were hiding there in the alyssum. Those are gorgeous, just gorgeous. So we'll be picking these for breakfast.
Is that more down
as soon as we're done filming? Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, this one I missed. Darn it. Okay, that one's no good anymore. But these are absolutely beautiful.
Nice.
So the strawberry crate tower, if you're looking for a way to grow strawberries that won't take up a lot of space, get yourself some of these plastic towers. And Smart Pots actually has a crate liner that you can stick inside and then cut holes in them, and you can plant strawberries in them. It's a great way to grow a ton of strawberries. It doesn't take up a lot of space. You can do it on an apartment or on your balcony or deck. So it's really wonderful. So I've made a lot of use of the space here with little Shorty. The peas are pretty much reaching the end of their life. If your peas are dying out, it's just the name of the game. They don't like the heat. So what I did, so I didn't waste that space waiting for them to die, is letting them run their course and then planted another sun gold tomato over here on the side. It is a crazy grower, as you saw down below in the garden nook. Will grow up this arch, got lots of flowers. Oh, little tomatoes coming on here. And it will really fill in this arch and make good use of the space. And then underneath, I can utilize some of the shade for some greens in the summertime. And if I'm lucky, once I take the peas out, I've got a cucumber here that will start to grow up the other side. So really trying to utilize all the vertical space I can so I don't waste any space. I am loving these little obelisks. I picked these up on Amazon. They're pretty inexpensive. They're perfect for cucumbers. They're about 6 feet tall. So I've got 4 cucumbers here in the 15-gallon Smart Pot, and just utilizing my little tomato clips here as the cucumbers grow. And we'll have tons of cucumbers from this container as well. So just to give you a perspective from the Smart Pots deck here of the garden layout below, this half of the garden, we've got the chill zone, the red planter area, and then right below the deck is the fig tree, and then the blackberry bushes right beyond that. At the end of every day, we always find ourselves right here on the deck.
We have meetings out here, we take phone calls here, and we plan all of our video sessions right here too.
And at night, the garden turns into a different place because Jerry has done an absolutely beautiful job of lightscaping the garden.
Like our friend Gary over at the Rusted Garden says, the garden likes to give, and that's what exactly it does for us each night. We just get recharged by being out here.
It's a great time to sit down and reflect over what happened during the day, watch the sunset, and then wait for that special moment when the lights come on when it gets dark. We hope you enjoyed this garden tour, and I hope that the tips I shared during the tour inspired you to make some changes in your garden too. Let me know in the comments. As always, we'll be reading your comments and answering them. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time in the garden. Phew.